Hello, everyone. My name is Austin Belzer, and welcome to another interview from South by Southwest 2025. Today, I have the pleasure talking to Annie St-Pierre, the director of the documentary Your Higher Self, which just had, I believe, Annie, I believe you just had the world premiere last night or the night
Absolutely.
before. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
last night.
if you're in Austin, for South by Southwest, you can catch it, The Surviving Earth on March 10th and 13th. I think there are four more screenings on March 10th and two on March 13th. Um, so tomorrow as of this recording, and then I think what is the 13th? Like Wednesday or something like that? Yeah.
I don't
Um,
even,
yeah, time is a blur, right?
yeah. During
Um,
festival, days are always a bit blurry.
Yeah. Your For those who maybe want a brief synopsis, Your Higher Self is a thought-provoking documentary that explores the vibrant world of health and wellness entrepreneurship and observes 15 life coaching sessions. So yeah, that's what Your Higher Self is about. But welcome to the welcome Annie,
Thank you. Hi,
and
Austin.
thank you for taking the time really out of this early, well, not early morning, it's about mid-morning, to come and talk to me. I really appreciate it.
It's a
Let's
pleasure.
dive right in. Where did you to explore the world of health and wellness entrepreneurship, and how did that lead to observing those coaching sessions?
Personal growth culture always have been in my life in some kind of way. My parents were fans of personal growth. My father had all the books of Tony Robbins. My mother was more like the secret thing and not too much, but a little bit. So it was always in my life. And at one point, I was really fascinated and interested in the way it's a mirror of our society. Like you can see how the self-help or like all this culture is following the society and can tell something about us and the era we are in. So yeah, I was interested in diving in it and see what really happened during those sessions, like having a real experience of what it is to go see a coach, because there's a lot of publicity you can see on social media, so many of them like telling you that they will change your life, but what really happened when you pay for an hour with them? It was my first question. Then I discovered this universe really fascinating, and that says so much about us.
Yeah, and I think, you talk about being a reflection of society. I know personally, because I um kind of where my self-reference books are for like my dictionary and stuff. Like I buy books probably an insane amount. I pass by the self-help section and I'm like, oh, I just noticed it getting like picking up more and more of the store. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's a pretty great answer.
the lucrative industry and more. It's yeah, there's some trend in the
Yeah.
culture, and those trends can also tell you like what society is about right now. During a certain time, it was all about performance, and the film is also about that. Like we really integrate the capitalism mantra, like to be really productive and to be performant and to treat yourself as a little company. It's really interesting to see that people are going to see coach for that reason, but when they are in the session, it's not what the what they talk about. It's not really the main subject.
Yeah, it's not what like is advertised. You might see an Instagram ad and say, "Oh, Tony Robbins," or I'm just using him as an example because that's the first name that comes to mind. Like, oh, pay 4.95 for a one-on-one coaching session, and then got all these like descriptors like, "Oh, this will change your life," and just one session, and then it's like, well, maybe not. Talking about kind of balancing two sides of the same coin. I'd love to hear how you balance both trying to be empathetic to the self-help industry while also kind of unveiling the more absurd aspects, to use lack of a better term.
No, I think
Uh,
it is. I think it is
okay,
absolutely.
I'm glad I'm
And
not off base on that one.
no, no, I think it's just um it's a tone that is pretty much in all my films because it's how I see life too. It's how I see human beings. I think, like I often say, I think we are so weird but so touching. My way of observing people is just you cannot be. I was not able to mock them or to just say, "Oh, that's a stupid industry." No, it's so human to have this quest for meaning and to want to understand more what your life is all about. And I respect the fact that they are wondering, like they are searching for something, and just that it's something that we need to respect, I think. And at the same time, sometimes it takes some whoa really weird path. We need to be together and laugh a bit about that, but with love. Like we can laugh, but we need to know that we are laughing about ourselves. Like I really wanted to make a movie that would um, reflect us, like all together, that you can identify yourself at least to one scene or one coaching. So I don't know. I don't think that I would have been able to do a different movie just because it's the way I see life.
And, I think there's inherently, you talk about not making fun of, but, just kind of laughing with. Um, because there is kind of, when you're asking for help to understand your life, it's you that's coming from a very vulnerable place of I don't know who the identity I have, so I'm going to entrust that onto somebody else to tell me, what do you think? You don't have my life, but if you did, here's the bullet points, and what do you think, right? So I do think that is an important distinction, is not laughing at, because I think there might be that sensibility, I think, to just be like, oh, that's really stupid. Let's just, you know, yeah. So, anyways, that's my
That
long way of saying I really like that answer.
Thank you. Yeah, but I think like I'm an overthinker person, but I'm more attracted by philosophy than by self-help. Or for me, it's philosophy and cinema that helps me to understand life and to find a meaning, and art in general. But it just made me think, for someone who know, for example, Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre always said that to have a strong identity, you need to look at the other. And our society is so individualistic that we are just watching ourselves all the time. And then for sure, at one point, you need someone else to look at you. And just the fact that this person is looking at you and taking some time to um, receive what you have to say about you, it gives you a mirror of who you are. It gives you an identity. Yeah, that's strange that now we need to pay for someone to look at us, but it's normal. It's just human.
And yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about what you said about the philosophy of cinema, and I think we kind of share that same, for lack of a better term, philosophy. I do this, review movies, or why I'm so interested in movies, is because of the philosophy of movies. It's, as a person with autism, uh, it's how I understand some emotions, right? It's like, oh, what does sarcasm mean? Oh, here's an example, like Chandler and Friends or something like that. That's how you learn those things. Anyways, another really long way of
You,
saying I really like the answer.
thank you
Um,
for sharing that. I It's precious for me.
yeah, no problem. I think even deeper into the creative process. Your film plays on the concept of distance to frame these, obviously intimate moments. I'd love to hear about what techniques you use to create that sense of separation while not, you know, totally creating distance for the viewer emotionally.
Yeah, it's a film that it was important for me that be I can use as much symbols as I want because I really like that, but I know that sometimes it can be a bit hermetic. And in my previous film, like I can have some, but it's not the core of the movie. But now it
Mhm.
really had to be because coaching is about perception, how you will, well, the only thing that coach can change is the perception you have of your life. They will not change your life, but they can change how you see it. And so I wanted to use that to use all the idea of perception in the way I was making the film. And this idea of mirror, and there's a scene where there's some coach watching another coach coaching someone. And for me, it was like the main image of the film. Like we can identify to those person as they are coach and coach too. And we are as human being a bit in the position of a coach and a coached also, and someone who's watching them. Well, it's a bit meta, but
Yeah.
for it was the symbol of the film. And I really wanted to frame the scene like in a steady, like in a like to yeah to create the distance, to feel that we are not. I don't know how to say that word in English. Voyeur. Do you know that?
Voyeuristic?
Voyeurs. Yeah. I really wanted to avoid that voyeur effect. So I thought like, oh, if we are moving, if we are too close, we'll feel like in a TV reality show. Blah, I don't want
Mhm.
that. I really wanted to control all the frame and to have like this long zoom or long movement that you just slowly coming closer to the person, but in a way that you feel closer to and you like as a traveling is more you're coming into the scene. The zoom is more like you're coming into the you enter into the psyche of the character. So I decided to use long zooms. We begin with real concrete zoom. It was really heavy and difficult to predict because once you're zoomed, you cannot unzoom during the same frame. Like it's not interesting. So for the first shoot, we did that. Then after I used more horizontal movement, parallel movement, traveling, or and we did the zoom more in post production. But it was a really small team. It was just one camera person, me, my DP, and the sound guy, and we had to recreate those conversations. So it was a really complex way of filming. Like we did it with mostly our instinct, but we were really listening a lot. Then okay, maybe now like we should go to the other person. But it was just like a dance of instinct and listening and being with them. But yeah, basically, maybe it was not a question.
No, 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 no.
Is
That
this the
makes sense.
technical? Yeah.
I kind of use the same approach when editing an interview like this. It's like, okay, um, I can get rid of the dead air of me trying to find the question or rearrange it into a way that makes sense. You are kind of taking that, um, to use your own word, voyeuristic thing of, or not voyeuristic, but just kind of complex way of doing things that, you're using your gut. That's how I describe it. Is
Yeah.
if I'm if I'm not the person who's filming this, how does it come across? You know, for
Yeah.
example, in an interview, am I talking too much? Am I not listening enough? Like, am I just looking at my questions and just ignoring whatever the interviewee has to say? So it's a very similar process. Although I'm sure much more involved on your end. I
No.
barely do any editing. The most editing I've had to do was on an interview where the like colors on the interviewee's side was way off, so I had to learn how to color grade in DaVinci Resolve. So, um, because
But don't
everything
you
was
think
just
that's
blue.
fun? Sometimes, like when something like that happened and it was not supposed to be like that, and then you have to learn something.
Hmm.
It's what I like about doing cinema, making documentary. Like I do fiction also,
Hmm.
but I always go back to documentary in between, even if it's not career wise. I'm not a career wise person, but it's just you learn so much in documentary. You just you can't control, so you just welcoming reality and try to do something with that. It's fun in life and in films, I think.
You're kind of creating a version of real life, so to speak.
Yeah,
It's not exactly what it was in the moment. It's, what is the narrative that I'm
yeah,
trying to create,
yeah,
which I guess kind of ties in pretty well with the movie, is with the self-help coaches. They're trying to create a narrative of I am the best thing for you right now.
totally.
But I've got a really heavy question.
Go for it. I'm ready.
Since we're already talking about psychology, throughout the filming process, did you find any particular insight about the human search for meaning that, maybe surprised you or changed your perspective on this?
Ah, sure. Been so sad that I spent so much time with them and not learning anything.
Yeah, that'd be boring, wouldn't
Ah, totally. And
it?
also prove that I would have been really close-minded. Like you need to learn something doing that. And yeah, as I said previously, I thought that it was all about performance because it's the way they sell themselves, coach, they sell themselves. But the person who are coach, they are not looking for that for real. They come there because it's like as opposed to a therapist that says, oh, it will be long and you will have to work on your past and you will have to clean a lot of dirty things. And like the coach says, no, no, it will be fast. It's like a making pizza pocket, like you do it and you're better. So people are attracted by that and they go there. But when once they are there, they open something else, which is not about performance at all, which is about, hey, what's the meaning of my life here? And I think we are all asking ourselves, what is the meaning of my life? Because we are isolated. And the meaning of life is created by relationship you create. Like once you're in a community, you have sense of meaning for people around you because and that's the reason why you go in the universe during the film and then there's this question what's your existence, what is the meaning of your existence in the whole universe? Nothing. We are nothing. That can be um for sure it provokes a bit of anxiety, but it should relax us because there's no way we will change life. Like we just need to create like those little relationship that will give a meaning for us during the trip.
Yeah, I think that maybe you put that on the poster, if it'll fit,
Um,
Uh,
actually, on the poster, it's this sentence is in Japanese.
mhm.
Um, yeah, under the
Oh,
picture.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't
because
know
I think
that.
the most important sentence of the whole film, like what's the meaning of your existence in the whole universe? And I totally understand that we are panicking about that. Like we don't have any control on life and we try to pretend something else. So it's just yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my English is I
No,
hope it
no, it's
is for
fine.
you
It,
sentence
it,
never end.
no, it's totally fine. I've said this before and I've been on record saying this. I much, much prefer when interviewees talk more than I do. Yes, final question. I would love to hear about what you think critics and audiences take away from the film.
That's a good question. I made it carefully to let them with a lot of questions. I don't want them to go out from cinema and say like, oh, it was entertaining. Okay, so let's go eat. And it's just a
Yeah.
film. It's not a film for that. I think it's a film that um, maybe you can feel embarrassed sometime. Maybe you can feel a little malaise, and it's made for that. It's made because I wanted to create some emotion that will force people to question themselves, to yeah, to reflect on their life and their spirituality and what they are looking for in this journey. Yeah, I think it's an experience. I really wanted to craft an experience for them, and this all those questions of what is the meaning of our life and how can we be less individualistic, and then maybe less suffering.
Yeah, and I think you'd be surprised if I told people how rare it is to craft an experience in a documentary where you're still asking yourself questions after, because I feel like a lot of those things can be neatly tied up, and it's like, okay, I don't have to do anything anymore. Like you were saying, just go to lunch. That happened with Food Inc. 2 earlier last year, and I was just like, okay, don't make the sequel then. Anyways, um, but anyways, Annie, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy South by
So
Southwest
much. It was
schedule.
a pleasure, Aston. Really, a real pleasure. Thanks to you to take the time to asking so good question and to have this conversation with me.
Yeah, no problem. Hope people who are in Austin check out your documentary, Your Higher Self. Again, that is playing during South by Southwest on the 10th and the 13th of this month. You can find a link to purchase tickets to any of those screenings in the description of this interview. But until next time, you can find me on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads under my username, Austin B Media, as well as my Discord and Patreon community chat. Speaking of Patreon, if you'd like early access to this next interview or more exclusive content, head on over to patreon.com/austinbmedia. For just $3 a month, you get 48-hour early access to my reviews, podcasts, interviews like this one, and articles, plus patron-only channels on my Discord. At the $10 a month tier, you'll unlock uncut podcast episodes, exclusive episodes, and more. If you enjoyed this interview, stay tuned for more South by Southwest 2025 interviews. Until next time.